Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm your host, Alex Whiteley. And joined with me today is Ben Coates, or if you're feeling cultural, Ben Coates, from Moggies Media. How are you, sir? You all right?
Oh, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Yesterday I was falling a bit by the wayside, working my butt off, but still kind of like feeling it, you know, that kind of, when you're up against it, hardly any energy, but you know you've got to get the job done. Whereas today, I'm fully rested. I feel good, ready to kick today's butt. So I'm feeling good.
I think yesterday was one of those days. I did a lot of editing yesterday, looking out at the weather, hoping it was going to improve. As I'm due down in Worcester this afternoon to fly over a glamping site to do some drone videos. Yeah, I know. So he won 4 in the bed recently. Actually, my client did. He won the 4 in the bed competition, and he was. Yeah, and the only thing somebody said was, the only disappointment was there was no door on the toilet, but it was a maze to get to the toilet, so you couldn't see anything. But somebody said they would have liked a door at the end as well, so that was the only thing they complained about. And if you've watched 4 in the bed, that is amazing. That's the only thing somebody said.
So it's a glamping site that didn't have a door on the toilet. That's hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can take your straighteners, you can probably plug in your straighteners somewhere. You can, but it's probably Wi-Fi and comfy beds and stuff. But no, yeah, that's cool. That's fantastic. I love that we've kind of met each other and we chat a lot, because I've been doing this for a couple of years now. It's crazy how sometimes you can be walking past each other, running parallel along each other, and not kind of know that each other existed. So now, because we both do something similar, you know. I mean, you work in photography and visual media as well, with the drones and things. But it's good to meet someone with a creative sort of palette like yourselves, you know. So let's talk a bit about you and kind of find out where this all came from. Is visual media something you've always been into, or, you know?
Yeah, I was in radio about 15, 16 years ago. Ooh. And yeah, a long time ago. And I tried to create for the station I was at something that I do now as a general thing, but it was seen as a bit too early in the radio station. I was trying to do outdoor road shows, etc., for launches of businesses, but it was too early in the process for some, and that's understandable. And then I went into vehicle leasing for quite a few years. And then I had an opportunity to take over a building in Telford with 27 offices. And I filled the 27 offices within 6 months through social media. Now, funnily enough, and I'm pretty sure being a creative person, you'll understand this, I never did Monday Motivation or Wednesday Wisdom. I had no need to do that.
You see, the thing is, I believe very much in organic growth. Okay, so everybody, my Instagram is probably about 18 months old, because I switched it over from personal to business, so I had to kind of delete everything and then start again. And we're reaching up towards 850 followers and stuff like that. But it's a slow progression. But the people that are joining my Instagram are active, they're very active, liking, responding to things like that. Whereas, like, when you get these motivational Monday sort of Twitter things that share your posts and things like that doesn't come across as organic to me. You know, I like people to follow me because they like me. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does. And to be honest, I've never seen a Monday motivational post and gone, right, today's Monday, I'm off out to rule the world. It's never worked for me. I don't know many it is, to be honest. But what the way we got the way we got the building rented out was we did content. So we did things that were going on. We did the way that we were building a community, the way that the offices were built, the way that we were working. We had one lad, he came in, he built his desk out of pallets.
Nice.
It was probably the most sturdiest desk in the building, because he created it and it wasn't put together in an IKEA kind of style. So, you know, and that's not IKEA's fault, by the way, but it's usually our own fault where we put the wrong things in the wrong places. So it was, you know, it was brilliant. But people then came to me and says, will you do my social media? And I says, no, I don't really want to sit there posting for posting's sake. That's not me. What I will do is I'll create content for you. And that's where it started. And that's where the journey started, really. So we started doing videos for people at the start through the phones, etc., because you have to start somewhere. Yeah. And then it just went from there. And then we obviously invested in equipment. And it then came to last year, and we've got the video recorders, we've got the cameras, we were doing a lot of events, etc. Because events is our main, what we really enjoy, being out in the open and things. So then last year we decided to invest in the drone, in becoming drone, what's called PFCO, Permission for Commercial Operations. Now, lockdown is my fault because it's £4,000 for roughly to invest. And I got it in February. So, of course, naturally, the world locks down in March, so I have to down the drone. It's just the way it works. It's just my luck at that time. So, so we invested that. And that really has taken us on to a new level now, the drone, because videography and photography, many, many people do, and they do it really well. And we've never been the people that have gone into Photoshop editing, the stage things. We do good photos at events, and we do Lightroom. So, we lighten the picture. We get rid of things that shouldn't be in the picture. But we get it out on social media, especially for events that night, so people can see what's going on next day. So they can go and attend next day. And that's our USP. And there's plenty of room for both. And obviously, we do a lot of interviews. So, the Flower Show, we've interviewed John Turode and Levi Roots over the last couple of years. And these people love it because you're asking them about all the positive things in life. You're asking them what's going on, how they're enjoying the day, why they're at the Shrewsbury Flower Show, why they're returning. And they love it because you just let them go.
Yeah. It's a special thing if you've got the ability to draw people in. Because with the visual aspect of things, because I feel like photos have lost the valuableness of themselves. We've all had those boxes of photos or the photo albums that Mom's got out, and look, here he is when he's 5. That was like a special occasion to sit around with a photo album. Whereas now, I was just looking at something like 13,000 photos over the last few years, just sitting there on a cloud. Where I've taken pictures, a million pictures where I've been at the zoo, and really I've only ever posted 10 of them. It's insane. But so if you can draw people in to a photo, and to use that to illustrate something, I think that's a skill, because you've got to know what people are looking for, right?
Yeah, what I find people do like doing is they don't like putting the photos up themselves, but they love tagging themselves. So we've just done. Yeah, we've recently just worked together at a series of drive-in events. And when you take pictures of the crowd, the comments that come up are, here we are on this, here we are again on this picture. And they're tagging whoever was in that bubble, because obviously we created social bubbles for people there. And they're tagging who's in their bubble. And that's the way it spreads, and that's the way it's going. So it works really well in that way, and that respect. And that's so for the public, that makes them feel quite special that they've been noticed at that event.
And with the drones, my little boy won't shut up about drones. He's like, what do you want for Christmas? A drone. I want a drone. I really want a drone. If Santa's really even good, I want a drone. It's drone. What was that like for you to take on this new thing that everybody's playing with? Did it take you long to learn the ropes for that? And as well with the legislation, because there's lots of legislation behind where you can go and where you can't.
It was a 2-year project, Alex, if I'm honest with you. It was 2 years. I looked at it, and I realised many, many people go and buy a drone, as you say, but unless you actually understand what you're doing, it's an aircraft. It is an aircraft. It's a mini aircraft. So to take it on commercially, you have to be very, very careful. So I studied it for 2 years, and then I decided to take the plunge, as I say, earlier this year. And it was really fascinating studying. And I studied for about 2 months prior to taking the exams. So, you get your folder from your training company, and they usually are ex-RAF pilots that run the training companies, because that's the kind of level of training you want and obviously need. And then you have to study all the air laws. You have to understand where and when you can't fly. So, for example, we did these driving events. There was a few where I had to be away. I was always at the back of the grounds because I couldn't be anywhere near the public for taking off because of health and safety. So it was really fascinating, that kind of intenseness. And then the 3-day course is going through all the air laws, make sure you know them, and then you get a day of flying around Shrewsbury Town Football Club, which was brilliant because it's you learn all about air, all the different air locks and things like that, and what to avoid, and also, if an helicopter, for example, on my exam, it was like, if an helicopter flies over in that corner now, where do you take your drone? And it was literally take it up, take it out, and dump it. So you have to be aware. Yeah, you have to be aware of the grounds around, so you can just go and land it. And at Shrewsbury Town, of course, you've got the training ground at the back. So as long as they weren't training, and you wouldn't take off if they were training, you could go and land it at the back there. But the helicopter could cause a lot of damage, obviously. So it was really interesting. And for me, the training goes on because there is a new air laws, there's new permissions coming out in the near future. So it just goes on and on and on, and you can never know enough. The videography and the photography, the best tip I ever had, as soon as you take off, if you're doing videos, press record, because you never know what you're capturing. So there was a recent fire at the Wrekin.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the fire because it was overhyped, as normally on Twitter, it was overhyped. If the whole Wrekin was on fire, it was a little fire. But I pressed record, and I got some fantastic shots of hang gliders and the nature, the birds flying past and things like that. And that was because I pressed record straight away. Yeah. So I didn't actually go and find what I found, but I found some great B-roll stuff for the future.
It's something I've noticed with the biscuit as well, to compare. I mean, we always used to get, because we used to do this in my kitchen when I used to live in Bellevue. People come around, I'd make a coffee, and while I'm making that coffee, we'd have a conversation, and then we would sit down and do the podcast. But those conversations, when I'm making the coffee, are usually the most natural, brilliant conversations. I'm like, why did we have a mic in front of us then? It's one of those things when you're creating content or you're involved in the media, you've got to be on the point all the time. Yeah, because you're right. You could miss the money shot, and drones are changing media, especially when it comes to movies. I think things like GoPros, drones, things like that. I mean, Sharlto Copley made that brilliant movie where it was all shot by GoPro. I've forgotten what it was called. It was just an action shot of a guy just running. It was just insane. And I think Kevin Smith as well did like a horror movie where they did action scenes with drones. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I think you're right on the money there. And the shots you get, can you fly a drone over like the town centre and say like get a picture of the spire looking down at St. Mary's, things like that? Are you allowed to do that, or you just get permission?
You have to get permission with that from air traffic control. The thing that people don't know about the airspace is that once you take off, you're under the air traffic control laws. It's not run by anybody. So I could actually fly over your house and say, it's not like you can say. Now, this is legally. Morally, of course, you can hold more sway morally. So, make people aware. So you can get permission to fly over towns, but they're what called congested areas. So in realist terms, you have to stay 150 metres away from congested areas. Okay. I recently did things for a fibre company that was fitting around Shrewsbury. So we went around the edge of town and found some ideal spots of bowling clubs, etc., where we could literally take off and take some shots from outside, looking over the town because the camera is amazing, but not actually over the town because that is illegal. So yeah, you have to be aware. You know as well as I do, though, Alex. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. It's just how you do it is the question a lot of the time.
Exactly, and I think lockdown for someone like yourself that likes to do the festivals and be out and about, lockdown must have really hurt for you guys.
Yeah, I pivoted. I've got a podcast myself, where I interview entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I only talk about positive things. So Zoom has been my friend, as I'm sure it has to you. Because your podcast is amazing about your local town, and also I think I've found podcasts as well. I don't know about you, but I've found other people's podcasts that I wouldn't have found if I was as busy as I was before.
I've more found people needing help. That sounds crazy, but I've got a good reputation when it comes to podcasts. I'm part of the podcast communities and things, and there's a lot of newbies coming on. There's, like you said, the people are locked away. They're in their houses and stuff, and they're looking for a lot of people launch podcasts, and they were all after help. And it was great to be able to meet new, exciting new people. Some not as exciting. They're like, oh, I can record a podcast on my iPhone on Anchor and talk about football. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. That's
not knowing what their aims are of the podcast.
Yeah. It's that's fantastic. But it's been more of a creative thing for me. I always say that podcasts pretty much almost saved my life. They were amazing for me. They were kind of background noise where I needed it. I was feeling a bit lonely, blah, blah, blah. But it was more of now I'm making so much. I'm working so hard editing and recording and representing, that I don't have much time for podcasts anymore, which is a huge shame. What kind of podcasts are you into listening to?
Listening, well, you've got to have Chris Moyles on.
I love Chris Moyles.
Absolutely, mate. The whole team there. Funnily enough, there you go. For top of the list there, Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.
Yeah, there we go. Nice.
One I appeared on recently is called Back in Business. And I don't know for those who remember the business days of BBC Two with Declan Curry and there's a journalist called Liz Barkley. I actually appeared on it over lockdown about how small businesses are going. So, yeah, and I listen to that every Monday because it gives some great business advice. I've got Paul McKenna, the Positivity Podcast, because we have to be positive.
Yep.
I've got a few personal ones like Peter Crouch and Taya Lenders and
that really blew up, didn't it? The Peter Crouch one when he released that. That was
it's brilliant. I mean, yeah, it is. I think I like a podcast where they don't take itself too seriously because
and that's why I love Chris Moyles, because he's always done that. He's always been just like, I am who I am. You know, I used to listen to him when he was on in the afternoons on Radio 1. I've always sort of followed him. That was a while back. But I kind of base myself on him because I love that love me or take me, take me as I am type thing. That's how that phrase goes. That's me.
I know what you mean, but I think that I listen to ones where I know there's a name and I know what it's about. So, the Biscuit podcast is obviously about Shrewsbury, the love of the town, the amazing things that go on the town, because too many people pick up the negatives and look at the negatives, Alex, and you don't. And that's why I love your podcast, and that's why it's number one on the list here.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I mean, we could talk about Brexit. We could talk about COVID. I mean, I know we cover COVID, but it's more kind of like informative, let people know what's going on and how people have coped and stuff, looking at the positive thing. We could talk about politics and stuff, but nobody wants to hear that. You can go to the Independent for that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. I'm all about just making people aware of what's good. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, two weeks ago, I interviewed a lad who's had 27 brain operations by the time he was 2. He's in a wheelchair. He couldn't see his parents for 4 months because he was literally shielded in lockdown. So he had to wave them through the window. And his business, he's an entertainment business, and he's going to get through COVID crisis. That, to me, is far better to listen to and far more inspiring than something like you say about people battling because they need their increase in salary because they sit in Parliament or something. And it's them kind of stories we need to get out, and that's the kind of stories that we need podcasters, because the podcasters are the people that need to get out these stories of positivity, and we need people to tune in to us because, you work very hard, and obviously I respect what you do and things, obviously, because you're number one on my list. But we need to be out there telling people what's good about the world, not what's bad. And that, for me, is the key.
I think you've got a responsibility when it comes to making something like a podcast, because you are sending a message, and there's a lot of gullible people out there, So if you're like Alex Jones talking about lizard people and crazy conspiracy theories, people are going to believe that, and I'm a great believer in having a bit of a responsibility. When people listen to your show, don't lead them down a merry path. Don't do that. I don't know, each to their own, I guess. But yeah, I appreciate anybody and if anybody ever wants any advice about starting up a podcast, I'm always you'll know this, Ben. There are something like 8 billion people on the planet, and about 500,000 active podcasts out there in the world right now. And if you look at those numbers, there's plenty of people to listen to your podcast. So I'll always help you. So drop me a message on that. So talking about lockdown, what happened in regards to festivals and things was terrible. But the Beth and the guys from Shropshire Festivals, they offered a lifeline to not just the town. Entertainments, was allowed to be again. For people like yourself who thrive on that kind of environment, what was that like for you to get that lifeline back?
I'll be honest with you, at first it was difficult to take in because the situation of the country was in. But when you sat down and thought about it, you thought, well, if we don't start, we're never going to start. And of course, if anybody's going to put themselves out there to do it, it's Beth and the team.
Yeah.
We both know that. And just to be out there, seeing the way that people are in their own bubble and that you can create something like that very quickly, to see some of the acts that was on stage as well and to work alongside them, it was amazing. And I've got nothing but admiration and respect for the Shropshire Festivals team. The Food Festival, Oktoberfest, all these events that they put on in the quarry, the smaller type events that they're involved with as well. They go to the nth degree to get everything right. And the issue that we are in danger of if we don't support these events and get the event industry back up and running is if we lose the top level event organisers, we then go to inexperienced teams and
or corporate.
And of course, the last thing on their list is health and safety.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that health and safety should be the highest priority with Beth, because the pods that were created, nobody felt like they had to mix with other people, which is quite difficult because we're all social animals. But the way it was laid out and things like that, and that you could go on the one side of your car, etc., it was just superb. And what I found was that the difficulty was getting people there the first time. Once they'd been once, they felt more comfortable. And I know for the first music one, you did a family vodcast or a family vlog. Sorry, yeah. And it made people see that they can be safe.
Yeah.
And that they can there. But, I mean, we all missed the food festival with 30,000 people in the quarry, of course. But
it was a weird one. You are right. I mean, I saw people there that I knew, and I would just love to go over and give a hug and say hi to. But at the same time, we made friends. I mean, we were parked up next to your wife, and we were chatting to your wife, and we still made friends. You can still do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's a case of you are forced almost to recognize social distancing, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, it was a fantastic event, and I think Beth is just the whole team. I mean, the food, for example. I mean, we've all been at festivals where you've had to queue up for like half an hour to buy a beer at like £6 a pop, like, you know. Whereas, like, you know, when you can order food from Zoom, Kev, again, another one that's been brilliant. Zoom food to your little box or to your car, that made things run. So I know it's hard for the team because they were running food back into, but still that service was it was fantastic. Hats off to everybody that was involved in that, because really, really impressive.
Even down to getting the cars in, where they had the system of having the small cars at the front, the mediums in the middle, the larger ones to the side, so everybody could see and have a view. That's just, that planning is you wouldn't think of it. A lot of people wouldn't think about that. See,
having an X5 isn't always wasn't always a great thing, but no, everybody had a great time. It was fantastic. How was it for you? Because it looked like it was just you. It was just you, or do you have a team of people there?
Well, I do the majority of the filming in the business, and Kaylee helps me as well. Kaylee's got her own camera. But what we decided a few years ago was we get the little ladies their own camera, and we call it Kiddie Cam.
Yeah.
And the some events where, of course, them filming down below and, you know, things like that from that kind of level is not appropriate because it's not the corporate look, etc. But for people that just want to, you know, they take some. So we do a lot of horse racing. They have some brilliant photos from the horse racing because they're at low level, so they're shooting up to the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, things like that, so they can get some great photos, especially as the horses are approaching him, and then get the trainer and etc. So yeah, Daddy goes around to all different angles, and they just sit there and get the better photos for some reason. I don't know what that says about it. But it's important because it involves. We tell them there's four in the business, and it involves them in the business. And as you know, as well as I do, because you've got your family as well. When we're out and about 24/7 in the summer, it's important that they're there as well, enjoying it and understanding what we do, rather than sat at home thinking Daddy's out at work again. I mean, I'm not taking them today to Worcester to do the drone flight because that's inappropriate. It's a corporate shoot kind of scenario. Yeah. You know, it's a holiday place, you know. But certainly festivals. And also, it helps with Beth and things because obviously, you know, I take more photos of my own kids as anybody would do, of course, you know. So they all go to Beth as well, and Beth's more than welcome to use those. So there's massive advantage in that respect as well. So you know, the four of us are involved in it, and you know, we do.
Yeah, hats off to you though. Hats off to you because I try to get Timmy involved with things I do at the Biscuit. I mean, he's very much involved with the vlogs and things. We did something similar when we went to the museum. Timmy had the health selfie stick and he was going around, and that was super cute, super cute. I think we're going to do more of them. It's nice to include them and show them what you do because, like you said, you know, you going out to work. I mean, if it's your business and you go to work, I quite like Timmy seeing me go to work and then seeing me come back in the morning because that shows him that's how we do things. You know, Mum and Daddy go to work, but at the same time, it's nice to include them into your universe. I think that's really hats off to you for that. What's going on with you at the moment? Are you now the world's kind of opening up a bit? I know there's little pockets of maybe lockdown coming back again, but on the whole, we're getting those festivals with a little boxing ring type stages for everybody, and lots of events that are slowly starting to come back in. Are you finding yourself busy at the moment?
I'm doing a lot at the moment of holiday parks and places where I've been on other websites that sell these, because they're suddenly seeing it set their own web.
Oh, hold on.
There's a lot.
Sorry, bit of a lag then. So you're saying there's a lot of holiday parks. We'll carry on from that point. Sorry.
Okay, so there's a lot of holiday parks coming to us at the moment because they're finding that having their own website is far cheaper than going on these websites that they book through, and so that they want their own video. So I've done a place in Newtown, which is a lovely farmhouse, 8-bed farmhouse, can have 16 in there. And I've just waiting for their website address to come through. Today I'm in Worcester at the Gladbid site. So there's lots of that. My first real big commercial show is the Professional Recovery Tow Show, which is the recovery trucks like AA,
Oh, right, yeah.
Telford in... Yeah. I saw your face then, and most people say that when I say tow show.
No. This is the thing, right? When it comes to something as niche as something like that, whether it's steam trains, model aeroplanes, or it's chess competitions, I will never discount that, because I like comic books, and for a while when I was growing up, I was like, ooh, you nerd, So I'll never discount anybody's hobbies, things like that. So no, that's cool. I like that.
I always have to clarify it when I say tow show, because people look at me strangely and think there's just a load of people there with their toes out. So,
yeah, now I see that. Yeah, that went over my head.
so yeah, but it's a big show in October in Telford, and there's a massive build up to that. I work very closely with that team, so we're about to, with a bit of luck, as long as the test events go well, that'll be on. I've got a few other projects in place ready to go, so it is picking up. I'm okay. And I think if you're okay in business at the moment, you're doing quite well, because sadly there's a lot of people that aren't even doing okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, but what you do is you offer people awareness, so if somebody's got a business or they've got an event or something like that, you are the guy that's kind of like, check it, here's a picture, these people exist. You do actually add something to somebody that is struggling. So, are you do you like get a lot of people that own businesses and things coming to you and be like, can you take some pictures, help us out a bit? Because I know you're involved with a lot of local businesses and things. The conference calls you invite me to and stuff. You're everywhere, sir.
Yeah, I do like my networking, because I think it's all about the power of the people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just recently gone on a American TV channel, IBM TV, which is basically it's a similar philosophy to me and you, positivity. And I appear on there quite a bit, given the United Kingdom's where we're at and what's going on. So it is about getting the message out there. But of course, I treat it as marketing. And of course, in a business, you have to be aware of what you're doing. So, appearances that you have to treat as marketing and put in your marketing budget. And perhaps you're not spending to go on there, but you're spending time.
Yeah.
So, you're into business ethics now and the way to run a business. So you have to have self-promotion these days. And it's never been easier. People are looking for guests all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on Radio Shropshire Saturday morning for a 10-minute chat with Mr. Shuttleworth, as I'm sure we all know.
I'm on there tonight. I've got to keep remembering.
You're on there tonight.
I keep forgetting that I was like, I'm on the radio later. I'm on the radio. The first time as well. First time I've been on, baby. That's.
And he's like us, another great promoter of local businesses. Yeah. I've known Paul for years. We've come across each other at events. I mean, we did the Dyslexia Awards last year, which was an amazing event. We actually did two in one night. We did Wellington Light Switch on. I was working for one of my clients who was the electrician who did all the lights, and he was the presenter. And then we had to go to the Dyslexia Awards. So it was like Superman running into a phone box and getting changed. And we both appeared and went, "Well, you got changed quickly. So did you." So yeah, but it's a small world, and we all come across each other and we all work together really well, because we understand that it is about collaborating.
It's about standing the test of time as well. it's one of those things where with the biscuit, we've created something that's lasted longer than a year, well, 2 years now, and there's a lot of people that come along and they'll be like, we've got this amazing idea. It's amazing. It's busy. I'm struggling. Oh my God, I can't do it no more. Bam, it's gone. So to stand the test of time and to keep bumping into people like people from the BBC Shropshire and for like the mayor and like all these little bits, if they constantly see you, that's where it's at. You've got to be able to do that. Networking is important. You're right. What I was going to say something and I completely forgot. Yeah, I mean, I went on a US radio station as well a couple of weeks ago. Big shout out to Matt Connaughton, WMNH in Manchester in New Hampshire, and I was talking about politics. That was a show where I was allowed to, but it was really cool because they wanted to know about COVID-19 is sort of like how we're doing, how we feel about how America's doing. That was the killer. That was kind of like, what do the UK think of us? And I was kind of like, well, we just have Brexit. We know what it's like to be embarrassing. Don't worry.
Well, the channel I'm on, it's the Democratic convention where they formally announced Biden as the candidate, and they're asking what the British situation is. And I actually said the other day, to be honest, I think a lot of Britain has lost interest because it's a one-man show, and they all went, yeah, we know what you mean, and I left them to it. So it's one of those at the minute. It's their election this time, and it really is their election they need to own. So we'll let them get on with it, and we'll carry on with the positivity things. Yeah,
we'll carry on talking about what we're doing. We'll be selfish for a bit.
No complaints over this side of the water.
The magic word I've heard over and over again through lockdown up until now has been virtual. Virtual this, virtual that. It's all been virtual shows. I'm doing one at the weekend. It's amazing. Now you live life through the lens, so you offer a virtual perspective at times. Is this music to your ears? Is all this the virtual shows and stuff? Is that something that you thought, ooh, something for us there?
That's a question and a half. That's a good question. I listened to the Back in Business podcast the other day, and the head MD of Xero, the accountancy software, on there, and he said the things that he thought it would be for 2030 are going to be in 2022, and 2023. So we are moving forward, and also what I think this time will bring technologically is it'll bring forward, so we won't need to fly for a meeting no more. Whereas in the past, you used to say, I'm just nipping over to the States for a meeting with the MD of. You can now hold that, because technology has advanced so much, you can hold it over Zoom, as we're using now. You can hold it over video conferencing with many people. And the decision to go ahead with the business and ensure that flight across to the States or to China is of value, and it will cut out a lot of the of no value where you just going to test the water. So I actually think that we always have to look at positives, and I think the positivity is that we will become a more efficient world, and of course it then enhances for the likes of yourself and myself. It enhances our offering because we don't need to get together with people no more to sit down as an interview. We can actually interview them over Zoom, and the big word that came out of lockdown was vodcast. So, and that's obviously that's come from the likes of Sky and BBC, who did a lot of podcasts early on, and it's grown from there. It was probably around before then. I'm not suggesting they made the word up, but they certainly promoted the word and things. So yeah. So I think visually, I think we are a better world, and I think it gives more value when you do go out to do the videos for websites, etc. Because again, that's visual, and people want to go to the websites and see what they're going for. And I think there'll be less risk in the world now. I don't think you'll be going on a whim and saying, I'll try this place, because there's no reason now not to have the visuals on there. I mean, I've suggested to people, I've got an iPhone stabilizer. I hold on your iPhone. Because I don't...
Like a gimbal.
Pretty much. Yeah, because I don't want to go out and do the social media everyday videos. That's not the business we're in.
Yeah.
But I do realise the importance of people doing videos. So I suggest they buy the phone stabilizer. I suggest they get a little clip-on microphone. I suggest they get a little light on top, an LED light, and just put the camera down for lights, etc. And then we go out and do the videos that need some editing and some production value. So I think also there's a few apps that I've learned over the time. So we have moved forward. It's brilliant because if people get the basics, the likes of your good self then can go out and do the stuff that you really want to do, the big productions, the stuff that you want to sit down with somebody and discuss. And it makes people realise what we do. Whereas in the past, they've seen the good stuff we do, and they think we've got a great life going out taking pictures and photos and you carrying your microphone around talking to people. What they don't see is the back end stuff when we're sat at our desk, like yesterday, looking at the rain, editing.
Yeah. The editing is I mean, all the stuff that I've put together visually, the videos, the vlogs and stuff, bringing up graphics on the screen, fading from one scene to another, putting in music, all the fading, all that sort of stuff. I self-taught. I've never been on a course. I learned it all myself, which you can probably tell. But you got the license to do that now, haven't we? You're talking about in 2022, in a couple of years. There's this one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror was one where they were on exercise bikes and they were like constantly. I think they were cycling to create power. It was like a power station, and the one girl went into it like an X Factor type sort of competition. Now all the audience were just avatars, the Mii's that you can get for the Wii. Like you can, and they could be physically seen in the audience, and they could cheer. And whenever they cheer, the avatar would cheer. Things like that. I feel like that's where we're going. I feel like if you want to be physically seen, your avatar to be physically seen at an event whilst you're watching it on Zoom and stuff, I think that's where it's going to go. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
You look at Peloton. And the fact now you can do a bike ride with hundreds of people in your bedroom or in your living room.
Yeah,
fantastic. It is. The advancement is fantastic, like you say, and we're moving forward really quick now, which is exciting, but also quite scary.
It is scary, yeah, because we all but as well, I mean, like celebrities are sat home doing nothing, and for example, when's this going out? I can say this now. Jamie Westwood and Tom Stevens, who do the Superhero Bar Fight show for me, they just randomly messaged Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup. Remember them guys? And he was like, "Yeah, I'll come on your show." Like just because they're not doing anything. And they want that exposure, You've got to forget a lot of celebrities are naturally narcissists, and they'll absolutely love getting a camera in front of them and doing an interview. So that's the downside, the upside to it as well. So what's the future then for Moogies Media? The drone thing as well. Are you looking to advance into anything else? Is there anything else you'd like to look at and go into?
It never stops in media. You always have to invest in equipment. The drone, I'm in at the start. I believe I'm in at the start. And I think we've seen advancements in the drone. Talk about advancements. We've obviously seen medical advancements in the drones over the lockdown. And that's really exciting as to where we can go to. I do want to increase the flights that, I do want to increase the drones we have and go and advance that. But of course, it's all about money. I'm a great believer in investing. What I like in technology is when you advance and then it brings up another weak point. So you improve on the cameras, it shows the sounds are weak, the sound equipment's weak. You improve the sound, it shows that your DSLR camera is weak and you need to change that. And so there's always advances you can make. I do want to become a media agency by the end of the year, but obviously that's gone now. I expected to be in an office with perhaps with what I'd call a serious looking business, but that's gone now, and I think my mindset's changed on that. So it is definitely equipment is the key. It's collaboration because you can't do everything. It's passing on what you're not good at because you can't be good at everything. I don't think any of us can be, and we don't want to be good at everything because what I like about things is if you're good at something, go and practice that. Don't practice what you're not good at. Find somebody that's better than you to do that. And that's really a philosophy. So I'm great at, the drone flying. I'm great at the shooting. The editing, I'm like you, I've taught myself. So I'm self-taught as well. But the accounts, I'm not very good at. I can't put on my expenses, if I'm honest with you. I hope my bookkeeper's not listening here. But, I can't do that. I can't do the accounts. So I've got an accountant.
If I'm going to be brutally honest, these are the things the struggles we're coming up with Team Biscuit at the moment is that I take on a lot, like with the shooting of the audio, the editing and everything else, and it's about me as a leader, as a people that's put these things together, delegating tasks to people, because I feel like I have to do it all when I shouldn't. And I think Joel Campbell from the prison said it brilliantly, is that you've got to just trust people to get it right or wrong. You've just got to be like, right, you're doing this, and I can't get involved. I've just got to let them do it, because if I'm interfering all the time, they're gonna feel like they're doing a cruddy job, and I'm stepping on their toes. I got to delegate like tasks to people, and not take it all, because I don't want to burn out. You know what I mean? And I want to trust the people I'm with. I mean, that's what's important.
Longevity, Alex. You've got such a skill. You've got such a, obviously I've seen a lot of your other things as well. You do away from the biscuit and get over, and you've got such a skill of talking sensibly, I think is the key. We can all talk sensibly. And if you do get, I know a local magician who's absolutely brilliant illusionist, and he basically ended up staying up until 3, 4, 5 in the morning editing, and then going to meetings at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and forgot what his roots were, which was the magician. That's how he started. And so please don't go down that route, sir. Please do ensure that you do what you're really good at, which is talking, editing, creating a conversation, and like you say, burnout, because you're good at what you do, mate. That's all I'll say.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm meeting with someone today that might be able to help. We are after, if anybody does want to get involved with us at the Biscuit, and sort of, if you see something that you would like to see us doing, or a path that you'd like to see the Biscuit go down, because you appreciate what we do, just get in touch, because we would love to hear from you. Ben, I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell the listeners sort of where they can find all of the content you create, Moogies Media, and ways to get in touch with yourself.
Yeah, so if you go to www.moogiesmedia.co.uk, all our things are on there. We have a blog, we have a podcast, we have links to our social media where our photos, etc. go on. So if you go to there, it's quite simple. Our podcast is called The Entrepreneur's View of Business. It is about entrepreneurs. So if you do like listening to the way people are getting through what we're going through, etc., and you want to listen to business people that have been in business for a few years, indeed today at Good Life, we had a counsellor who's also a band member, who's also does a networking club, and he does a folk club. And they tell me that all politicians are quite boring. He wasn't. So go and get some business tips off that. And that is available on all good podcast platforms, and some bad ones as well. But that's the normal thing. But all good podcast platforms, The Entrepreneur's View of Business. And if you're not already subscribed to it, subscribe to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, because it's a bloody good listen.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Honestly, that never gets boring to me. I love that. You know how there's all this stuff about Justin Bieber gobbing on his fans and being horrible to his fans. I can't imagine ever being like that, because I just appreciate everything that comes with this. I love it, really do. Ben, you're an awesome. I'd love to come on your show, talk about motivation and stuff, because I've learned a few tricks. I think maybe I could teach some. I don't have a business, I have a podcast, but maybe I can teach them something. Thank you for coming on the show, and listeners, make sure you check out our website, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. It's lovingly made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. They make great websites. If you need a website, check out them. But look at our website. Look how great it looks. All of our audio is available on there. It's great. You can listen to our audio from our website. If you're not into Spotify or Podbean or iTunes or wherever else our podcast is available. See how I do that? That's so flawless how I do that. That's fantastic. I love that. Sorry. Make sure you get involved. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. You've been a fantastic guest. Thank you.
Cheers, Alex. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you very much, guys, and peace out. Take it easy.